another episode of Test, Optimize, and Scale. Excited to have Tom Graham here, founder of Life Imaging out in Florida, client of ours, worked together on the Reg CF campaign on Start Engine, and here to talk about the creation of the organization, the whole path of the crowdfunding campaign. Tom, thanks for joining us.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to get the word out to everybody we can, make everybody understand as much as they can about this amazing journey that we've been on together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Tom, I've had the pleasure of being in your offices, out there and have learned more and more about you. I thought we could start with some of your history, some of your successes that led up to the creation of Life Imaging.
Sure. Well, I like to, I use the words, serial entrepreneur just out of, I guess that's what you can refer to me as. I've owned several businesses. My MO typically is to grow and sell a business. I've done that a few times in my career. My last company, fortunately, we had some really good success. It was actually a debt management company. I stumbled into medical, but my debt management company, I grew it over literally about a 4.5-year period, almost 5-year period. We did about $40 million, and then I sold the business to a private equity firm. When I sold the company, we had 180 employees. I think we did just under 20 million. It was in late 2009 I sold the business, but we did about 20 million the year I sold it. Prior to that, I built another wholesale travel business. I sold it. It's the first time I became a millionaire, and I was able to sell that company. And so it's kind of been my MO. This journey is completely different. I want to do good on the planet. When I found out I could do what we do in this business, I got pretty excited about just the fact we can help people and save lives on a regular basis, and that's what we've been able to do. And so this kind of came out of left field, actually, this business.
And like you said, you've had successes, exits, taking companies from 0 employees to 180, and you were fascinated by the vertical you're in now. Can you explain a bit about that, a bit about the photography, the equipment, how it all works, and why it's such a great opportunity?
Yeah. Okay. So we do early detection of heart disease and cancer, and we do it using a CT scanner. And the reason we're so different is because nobody does what we do. And I tell people, normally you get a CT scan when the doctor thinks something's wrong. They want to look at a heart, a lung, a liver, a kidney. They want to go inside because something's wrong. This is reactive medicine. This is how medicine works. And this reactive approach is a lot of times, it can be beneficial, obviously. I mean, medicine is medicine, but the reactive approach, I don't know if it's a third of the time, but often it can be too late. A lot of cancers show up stage 4, a lot of, heart disease shows up, and 30-40% of the time the first symptom is sudden death. And unfortunately, this reactive approach, when I learned I could use this same technology, of course I don't have a proprietary piece of equipment. I didn't invent it. CT scanners have been around for about 20 years. But when I found out I could use it for preventative screening, I found out it's 98% accurate. I can look at the heart, look in and around the heart with 98% accuracy and see how much blockage you have in and around the heart. It used to be, old school is you get on a treadmill and the guy pumps your heart up and the doc, makes sure you're going okay. But what people don't know is that's not going to tell you anything about blockage. And, I have a lot of people, and if you go to my website, just literally 2 days ago, I had 2 people that came in that we scanned that had major blockage, and they sent back in and, did a review, a testimonial, and both of them said, quote unquote, "You saved my life." And we did. They're majorly blocked in major arteries in and around the heart. And by this preventative screening and the accuracy of it, we were able to tell them, listen, you've got some blocked arteries. You need to get to the doctor, get to the specialist right away. One of them had open heart surgery 2 weeks later. The doc told them we absolutely saved their lives. So part of my inspiration came from doing good on the planet. If I could make some money while I do good on the planet, that's all well and good. But really, I got into this, after I sold that last business, I sort of semi-retired. But, when I found out I could do this, it really inspired me. And now I'm living it. And it's, every week. I mean, I get in here. You met Judy. She runs the front of the business. Her and I I mean, there's times we just break down and almost cry, man. It's so emotional because it's impactful to people's lives, you know?
Absolutely. Like you said, you're physically giving people early detection of, fatal conditions.
The
And,
two biggest ones, yeah, the
yeah,
two biggest ones, heart disease and cancer, 1 and 2.
yeah,
If heart disease doesn't get us, because it's 1 out of 3, and a person dies every minute of heart disease in the US, if it's not that, it's going to be the cancer. And I don't know about you, but I want to live a long time. And if I can stay ahead of these 2 deadly diseases and I can do it without minimal invasive anything happening, it's kind of a no-brainer. And one of the other things too I had to do, Jason, is to find a way to make it affordable.
yeah,
Insurance doesn't cover this stuff, and that was part of my problem.
sure.
So, now you realize, there's the reactive part, right? So insurance doesn't cover preventive screening. You would think it would, because it would help the insurance companies save money. But I think, and I hate to even say this out there because some people are going to not like it perhaps, but I don't think the doctors make a lot of money keeping us well, and I have some doctors that come at me and say, hey, you know what, Tom, we were taught a different way, and a lot of us believe differently now. Well, there's a lot of these aggressive, progressive doctors now that are on board with preventive screening and stuff. So that's good to know. And also people, this post-COVID, I think people are realizing, you got to take care of your own health nowadays. Don't rely on the government to do it. And this is one of the ways you can make sure you're okay. That's all.
Sure. In the
Yeah.
whole world of entrepreneurship, we're looking for things that are new, different, disruptive. Not to overuse
Yeah.
the word, but like you said, it's not happening in the space right now. And you even have the professionals who, have said, we did this in the past. Now we want to be using your model. Early detection is where it's at.
That's right. Preventive screening is absolutely saves lives. It's definitely the answer. And, I knew from, I found out about this type of business from a friend of mine, the only other guy in the country that's doing it. And, when I heard about these stories, that's how I got involved. I got reacquainted with a guy I'd lost track of for years, and he'd opened in another city, in another state. He moved back to the Tampa Bay area where I'm from. And that's how I got to find out that this even can happen. And for me, it's a matter of really getting the word out to people and making sure they understand that you can even do this. People don't even know it, so it's exciting.
And Tom, just so the audience gets more familiar, how long have you been doing this for? What has that road looked like, maybe before equity crowdfunding, and getting the word out around that?
Around the crowdfunding?
Or just the process. Did this begin, once you launched your Start Engine campaign? Were you already getting awareness out before that? What did it look like?
Yeah, well, I when I knew I was going to start this business, like a lot of times we go out, we try to find some money to do something with. And I've had experience with, private equity firms. We all know if they're going to give you any substantial amount of money, what do they want? Control.
Absolutely.
I'm not a guy that, that is controlled very well at this stage of my life. I don't need help doing it, but I could use some money. So I actually found a private equity firm in my local city. I went through some connections. I knew a couple CPAs and stuff. I got hooked up with some guys that wanted to jump in. And we were negotiating the deal, and unbeknownst to me, right when we were getting ready to do a deal together, and I was going to suck it up because, listen, we all know as entrepreneurs, getting money is the hard part. Some of us that are new entrepreneurs, the rest of it's very hard also. And I would tell people that if they're at that stage of the game and they're entrepreneurial and they're trying to get out there to do something, you need to go with that passion. But the money can be the hard part. And so, as soon as these guys were ready to do the deal, COVID hit. And then I found out they own nursing homes all over the country. Oh my God. I thought I was going to have to get the fire extinguisher out and put the guy's pants out, because they're in the nursing home business. And I'm thinking, oh my God, you poor guy. And he's like, Tom, we're going to have to get back to you. And I said, yeah, right. I won't hear from you for a while. So, that deal didn't go. I was out pounding the pavement. I met with some other private equity firms down here in South Florida, and with my experience, I knew I would be, I was really pushing it to do a deal that I'd be happy with. Then I'm sitting around, and I'm a Shark Tank fan. I'm watching Shark Tank, and, because I'm not a guy that, is real computer savvy, man. I'm just not. I'm not that guy. I don't know a lot about this new stuff that's happening out there. I don't even own a Facebook account, to be honest with you. And so when, I thought about, what was going on Start Engine, and I thought about looking into crowdfunding, and that's kind of how it happened. And that experience wasn't easy, just digging through the pile of crowdfunding platforms out there. I think I'm lucky I landed on Start Engine, at least I think so. I mean, they've been pretty good and we've been able to accomplish a lot. And of course, with your help, that really is where the rubber met the road, and we were able to get some things done with your help. Because I had to stumble. A lot of people talk a big game when it comes out to the social media marketing, a lot of talkers, but there's very few people that I found that can actually get it done. And thank God I found you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Yeah, we've been working on these campaigns. Reg CF activated May 2016. We had ads going right out of the gate. And it took a while for campaigns to really hit critical mass. 100K, a few 100K, 500,000 wasn't a bad run back then. To be able to your campaign, I think we started with you when you're just above 100K, and then launched some advertising, saw it grow, saw some performance over time, and then you were able to direct the ship and really ramp it up. Add video, add messaging. You're being featured. I've seen some great podcasts you were on in the past as well too. To be able to have a strong founder present, throughout these creatives, throughout these investor presentations, definitely goes a long way. You want to talk about that process a little bit and what you've seen over the past 12 months, how your campaign's ramped up to the hard cap and you've refiled from there?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's just like you said, and I got to tell you in the beginning, once I got on the platform, that's really, there's a little gap there between, like a Start Engine or these other companies, at least it was with Start Engine, because then I was kind of on my own to go out and find a way to market, right? And I had no idea, because I'm not a big Facebooker. I'm not one of those people that's, even doing a lot of stuff on the computer. And I had to kind of find my way. And I don't know if I told you this, Jason, or not, but I actually tried to do business with 3 other people before you and I met. And it wasn't pretty, and I could tell that they were not telling the truth in half the conversations. And then, one of the other guys just wanted to take total control and not listen, because he needed to listen a little bit to what I had to say. I wasn't completely ignorant. That didn't work. And I think I got lucky. I think I went back to Start Engine because they seemed so busy. I was going to use them to help me with the marketing. And I got so that, the first guy I talked to from Start Engine sounded like he was sitting in a tin can. He wasn't paying attention either. So I just said, listen, you got to refer me out to somebody. And I think that's how I found you. And then, one of the things that set, Jason, with you were very patient. You took the time to spend with me. You weren't distracted. You were, you kind of held my hand through the whole process. And then once you inserted the team really just got the ball rolling. And and once you get some momentum going, and once you start to get somewhere with it, then it kind of gets organic, it kind of goes. We had to do a lot of content, but your team, and you kind of led that too. I think you guys quarterbacked a lot of that stuff. And I got to tell you, it gets exciting, you go to bed and you wake up and you got some money in the bank, and it gets pretty exciting. It's addicting. I got to a point where I just couldn't believe it, because I owned a private equity firm back in the day. And I think I mentioned to you, we used to go old school. You get on the phone, you call 250 people a day and everybody's hanging up in your ear. And I raised a lot of money that way. That was back in the 90s. And, this is just amazing to me. It's very exciting. I feel like I could do anything.
Yeah.
And make this work, Yeah.
Different time. I remember the smile and dial, not for investor purposes, but in the ad tech side in early stages of my career. And yes, it definitely streamlines it to be able to go after historical equity crowdfunding investors, people who participate in Start Engine deals, take them to your offering, talk about the amazing things that you guys are doing in the medical space, med tech as a whole. I should just, point at the early detection side of things, but how it touches all these different interest groups of some of your investors. And then, outstanding in the sense that you've had a direct connection to many of your investors. I will recall again being at your office and you showing me who came in that day, who came in the day before. You tell me about different investors you were calling, sharing updates to.
Sure.
Not all founders do that on these platforms.
Well, I think it maybe comes from my background of raising money, and that's another thing too. Listen, if you have any, personal rapport with some of these people, back in the day, we'd call it loading. I get a guy in, and now I'm becoming, somebody that he talks to me. I talked to a guy yesterday. He's like, I can't believe the founder called me. And I'm like, well, I want to get you in before you miss out. He was on the wait list. I had, I don't know, $60,000, $80,000 sitting on the wait list where, we've capped out, right? And I didn't finish talking about that, but as you guys helped me ramp this thing up, and you're right, and you were directing me. We did a lot of stuff. We started doing stuff regularly. We started updating the campaign, right? You guys, and your team would come to me. They wanted content all the time, which I enjoyed doing because this is part of the whole scenario. And we definitely saw the progress from those things that you mentioned. Without that, it could have been much slower, and it wouldn't have gone quite as quickly as it did. And I think all of these things, it takes all of these things to get to good. I realize that now. And, and now we've maxed out the campaign. We raised $1.70 million. And I just now got through. I had to go and get all the books audited. I need 2 years of audit to go to the $5 million mark. We're actually going to go to 3, but not 5. I don't need that much money. But, that whole process, was, I had to jump through some hoops, if you will, to get to that next level. But again, this is all exciting stuff for me. And for me, like talking to these people and trying to stay involved with it, I try to do it as much as I can, although we're very busy with this business. It's taken off like crazy. So that's the other good news, I guess.
Yeah. And the marketing for the campaign supports that as well, right? Not to say it's pointed just at bringing in customers, but at the same time, we like to call them user owners. So some of your investors have turned into clientele.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I've had, I don't know, I think, we've only been open for 4 months. I think we started in April. And yeah, I've had, let me see, I've probably had 6 investors that have come through that, and those investors bought into my scanning program. Not only did they invest, they came in as, whether it was because as part of our bonuses, we gave away scans, right, in the race. That was one of the things I was able to do. Our full body scan has a value of a couple $1,000s retail. So, certain investment levels, 5,000 or more, we gave away a free body scan. But they ended up coming in and buying into our program. One of the ways I made this affordable is by bundling it over 3, 5, and 7 years. And people can get annual screenings and know that they're in good shape. And most of the people that came through did buy, the investors. But, it's really fun when they come in as an investor and they see the facility and they're like, they're pinching themselves like, oh my God, it's real, right? And they get to meet, me, they get to see this beautiful scanner, and the facility is so nice and pretty. And yeah, it's everybody's happy once they come through.
Absolutely. We like to paint that picture. I did a Forbes article on the new premium audience in investor marketing, and that's the user owners, not just because of how they become very valuable lifetime value clientele, as you're pointing out here, but also social sharing. Ambassadors, they're telling their friends, having people come in.
Oh my God. Scans. Oh, everyone has sent a family or friend into the investment. Every one of them. I'm not kidding you, because I'll ask. I don't mind asking. Hey, John, you took the time to make the investment. I'm sure you like what we're doing, right? You like fact we're saying lives. You've seen the facility. I'm sure you know a friend, a family member, a coworker, somebody that would enjoy making some money with us, and maybe even coming and get scanned like you did. So, and they've all sent people. I mean, everybody has sent somebody over, it seems like.
It's so good to hear. We say this as a marketing agency and share indirectly stories of founders that have given these notes to us. But adding that color really brings it to life. Yeah.
And it's the good side. It's it's really nice to be able to accommodate them, and then have them have faith in me like that, and have faith in what we do, and as they should. I mean, look, I'm all in. I'm not playing around. I've got I want to build this company, and my MO is to build and sell. And that's another thing we can talk about. I've already got people coming at me that are talking about wanting to IPO us, talking about wanting to. I've already got it. Honestly, just today, Jason, I had a meeting with a substantial company that's trying to buy me out, that's trying to buy the company. Wow. And they want to put this imaging concept all through Europe and the United States. I mean, they're a big company. They've done $5 billion in acquisitions. I told my CPA about it, and he laughed. He said, Tom, that's crazy. They're talking about lending the company $30 million to expand the business, both in the US and around Europe. I just got on the phone with her 10 minutes ago.
And would you say that equity crowdfunding helped or hindered, but helped in those conversations, whether it bridged them and the marketing got more awareness, or you
Yeah.
pointed to it and it was a good thing, or if they had concerns about it? How has the Reg CF played in those discussions after the campaign?
Well, in this particular discussion, it hasn't come up much. These guys came to me out of nowhere. They said they found me on the SEC registration. So I don't think they found me on the crowdfunding platform. They know I've raised money there, but they're a big company and I don't think they're too concerned about it. You know, in their acquisition, they plan on probably either just buying us all out. They want me to stay on board with the deal, but look, I'm not saying I'm going to sell the company. I just want to mention that too. This has been an amazing journey. I'll tell you what the crowdfunding's done is the crowdfunding allows you to do what you need to do with a business and stay in control. That's what it does.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing. And that's amazing about this. You know, I raised $1 million and I gave up, 25% of the company, and I get to stay in charge and build a company, and people get to come along for that ride. That's the key factor, man. Because honestly, it's hard enough to go get the money. And if you do, guess what? You're going to lose control.
Yep.
And now you got a job again.
Yep.
That's no good. I'm not doing that. Who's going to do that?
I've seen it happen both routes. Great
I
to
know.
hear you emphasize that.
Well, look, 50% of something's better than 100% of nothing. I was getting ready to take a deal from those guys that had that own the nursing homes, because I was like tired of trying to get money and I just wanted to go. And I was ready to go there, and I had almost felt a little bit defeated in that manner myself, but I was ready to go because I wanted to get the business going. I was chomping at the bit. So yeah, you're right. It can work both ways, especially for somebody who's a new entrepreneur. Sometimes you get these people that come in and they're smart. It's not their first rodeo, and you can probably learn a lot. I'm a little further down the road, 3 companies deep. Sure. And so, I don't need all of that insight but it could be a right fit for a lot of people. Huh? Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I try to paint out both sides of it. We're really more involved on the marketing side. So if a group's going to go down equity crowdfunding, where their guys have hundreds of different campaigns I can point at, different insights, things that work, things that haven't, but there are considerations. That's what I hear from founders like yourself is there are advantages for what they set up as their filing, the valuation, the control, everything about it, and the marketing value that they received ended up benefiting them in the long road, beyond just the capital.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to navigate it by myself, and I'm a fairly smart guy. But no, you're right. I mean, between Start Engine and you, I mean, I've kind of gone along for the ride. I mean, I've provided the content, the concept. I believe me, it's a 2-year project for me. I started this thing almost 2.5 years ago. I think I mentioned that to you. Mm-hmm. We got, I don't know, at this point we've got the facility open, so I think we're 10 steps ahead. A lot of the people that try to raise money, just getting the doors open, right? I mean, even just getting this far is pretty exciting for me and the investors.
Absolutely. We've been watching it come to life while talking with you throughout the entire process. Wanted to go into some recommendations. Do you have any insights, anything you would share with the founder who's going to go down the equity crowdfunding road, particularly in terms of what to test out? Is it advertising? Is it some of the content channels that you mentioned with email and social media, articles, webinars, bringing in the initial audience? What would you recommend?
Yeah. Well, listen, for me, like I said, without the experience, I don't know how, unless you're a Jason or somebody, you could even navigate this whole thing. And listen, there's some younger entrepreneurs out there that may have the ability to navigate it. For me, no, I needed help to navigate it. So, and you got to make sure that you figure out who you're going to do business with that's really going to help you. Because like I said, there's a lot of people that not a lot, but I ran into people that talk this big talk, but they're not getting a lot done. And so that was a key for me. And, when I got started with DNA and I started to move in a good direction, I stayed close to you. We were talking, your team was on the phone. I told them I wanted a weekly call, which you accommodated. I get to get on the phone once a week and talk about it. That's huge, man. It gives you some comfort level. I get to go over what just occurred. Hey, do we need to change ads? What are we doing here on this social media platform? Well, should we go over here? Remember, we went through all of that together, you and me and your team. Mm-hmm. And that is such a big help to, people that, are trying to do this, because I couldn't imagine if I had to figure all that out, I'd still be a year behind just figuring all this stuff out. We got to, if you will, turn it on. And by the way, it's very fair. It's very, equitable in terms of the investors, but even with your, your scenario, even when you get somebody to help you do this, it's well worth the money spent. Way, way, way worth it. I mean, because, you saw what we did. We're like this, boom, all the way up to 1,070,000. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Mhm.
It's just exciting.
Yeah, and being able to see it show up in the analytics. I remember in the early stages, it was a few
Yeah.
conversions here, a few there. Then once we saw it, Tommy, you were on board. You said, let's take it to higher levels. We saw, 10 this week. What do we have to do to see 20 next week?
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. We were really able to ramp it up there. So being able to partner with you on that was exciting.
Yeah.
Any insights towards that? Anything you would tell another founder in terms of how to optimize? Once you see things working, or if they're not working, some different steps that really made a difference for you?
Well, I think, once we started to get just enough traction to see that, hey, this might be workable just through the Facebook marketing, right? Then I think it was you that suggested, or your team, I don't remember which, but we talked about, listen, I need to start doing updates on the campaign pages. Your team helped me come up with these great updates on a weekly basis. And, then we started, what else did we do? I think we moved over, we did a little bit of LinkedIn. We tried a few different things to figure out what would work. But, you guys always told me that all of this stuff circles around, it's all part of the big scope of things. And then once we started doing the updates, we started trying a couple different platforms a little bit. I mean, we did primarily everything over Facebook, right? I mean, I think that was primarily where the money was coming in, but I couldn't tell because it was just coming in. But, some of it may have come from LinkedIn, but that was you. You helped quarterback that part of it, right? Remember? And I didn't know. And then so as we started to do that, then organically, we did start to see things escalate quite nicely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've been a top campaign on Start Engine and King's Crowd many months, many weeks as a result, because you were able to really scale into that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about scale a bit more there. We'll see some founders, they'll want to see the advertising work within a week, within a month. If it doesn't work, they basically want to cut it out.
No.
You were a few months in when it really began driving, but then we scaled it and your campaign was performing at scale, went from 300, 500, over 1 million, excited to see it ramp up to 3 million at this point now that the filing's there.
Yeah.
It's been, thrilling to watch it scale.
Yeah. It was, and it did. It did take a little bit of time, but at the same time, if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to get some money, and I mean, for me, the minute I see a little, let's say, look, $7,000, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 coming in almost on a daily basis, you get pretty excited. And the first thing to me is, I want to know, how do we scale that? And they should understand that. And it didn't happen overnight. It took a minute. We had to let it soak, if you will. And as it started to do that, and as we started, doing all of these other things that led to where we are today, it really grew legs and it took off. So you got to give it a little bit of time. You have to do that. But I promise any entrepreneurs out there that are trying to go down this path, stay your ground and just stay on it, because at some point it's going to go. You just have to stay focused and let it soak, let it do its thing. And I promise you the reward will be there. Yeah.
I echo that as well too.
Yeah.
And just looking at projections and where the industry is at, I anticipate you being one of Start Engine's top campaigns for 2021 here. We're of course big fans. They're one of the top 2 portals any given month on the King's Crowd metrics. Big Howard Marks fans. We've spoken at their conferences in the past. Everything they're doing is great, and you'll be listed as one of their top groups by our projections. So excited to see your campaign develop even further. And of course, with you at the helm, we see the most active founders, and our case studies show that produce the highest performing campaigns.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I hope so. It's been a great journey. Been exciting.
Could you see yourself doing multiple rounds? I wouldn't want you to disclose too much or anything like that, but could you see this vehicle being used for multiple Reg CFs, Reg A pluses, things along those lines for founders?
Yeah, for sure. I've consulted with SEC attorney now. I've consulted with some pretty heavy CPA guys that have a lot of experience with mergers, acquisitions. that have a little more experience. Most of my experience has been to build and sell, so this stock stuff's a little new. Although, as we grow here, if I just to answer your question, yes. And the reason is once I get a handle on this flagship clinic and we get it open, I have a place now that I can train people from other cities. Now I can move quicker to open up a second, a third, a fourth, fifth location, whatever we want to do. And that's what we would, keep raising money for, these new locations. And for me, as a business owner, my goal is to, if I can get multiple locations and net out a couple $1 million out of each location, in no time, let's just say with 3 locations, you got 6 million EBITDA, and in healthcare, fortunately, sometimes it's 7, 8 times EBITDA you can get for the business. But even if it's just 4 or 5 times EBITDA, you can grow a company to $30 million of value in 3, 4 years with just a few locations. If I have 10, it's off the charts. So, and I'm not that tired yet, so we'll see how it goes, or I might have to get some good people around me to grow it to 10 locations, but I would definitely keep raising money as long as we're having the success that we're having here. And that makes it very comfortable to think about moving to the next level and continuing to raise money is the success we're having already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And to be able to build off the momentum,
Yeah.
future rounds. That's what thrives in these equity crowdfunding platforms is that momentum.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a great point in time to be speaking with you here. Like you mentioned, you've had 3, ventures before this, exits, growth. You wanted to do good things in the world. You built up this organization and then moved to equity crowdfunding actually during COVID and everything that was happening last year. How to figure out the marketing a little bit. But once you started dialing down which audience is working, how to ramp it up, scale it up, you hit your full cap. Now you're looking at new goals, have partnership conversations come in for people founding on the VC side and across the board. So really a strong direction for the company in healthcare here.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Been good.
Very nice. And, Tom, thanks so much for sharing all this. Any last notes, anything you'd like to add before we get into wrap here?
Well, I would just encourage everybody, just pursue your dream and just stay with it. Get some people like Jason around you, get some people that can guide you. It'll make the journey so much better and so much easier. I mean, I like I said, I don't think I would ever attempt to do this with the knowledge and even with my experience without some guys that have the experience on the backside of this, like you guys do. And make sure you find the right platform. I like Start Engine. They've done a good job for me, but there are other companies out there. I don't know, Jason, you know them all, but, just stand your ground, man. Dig your heels in and go. And then, see where it takes you. This is an amazing way of getting to where you want to be and just enjoy that ride. And if you put the hard work in and you believe in what you're doing, I don't think there's anything that can stop you. I really don't.
You heard it here first, and this isn't theoretical. This is from founder of Life Imaging, has gone through it himself, raising these amounts. Inspirational words to everyone. I like how you're sharing those insights. Tom, if anybody wants to keep speaking with you, if they want to get in touch, what's the best way to do so?
Well, you can reach me at tom@lifeimagingfla.com. It's tom@lifeimagingfla as in Florida.com. Or they can reach me by phone. I'm happy to take phone calls. If anybody needs to reach me at my toll-free 855-700-SCAN, 855-700-7226. Can reach me at my office. I'd be happy to talk to anybody that either has an interest in investing in or needs any encouraging words with what this crowdfunding platform has been able to do for me. I'm happy to help.
Or a scan, being at the location in Florida.
There you go. No, I almost forgot, Jason.
For me.
Awesome,
Tom.
Most important.
Exactly. Well, thanks again, Tom. Again, you are a wealth of knowledge and firsthand experience here, so appreciate you joining.
My pleasure, Jason. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for listening in. We'll see you next time.